For all the latest community news and events.
103.2 Preston FM.
Your community, your radio.
And I'm very pleased to welcome Janet Cullingford and Aneesah Dana. Now, you're both from iCann, which is Independent Community... I can't get that right somehow. You say it for me, Janet.
It's the Independent Community Advocacy Network North.
Brilliant. What is iCann?
We're an independent advocacy organisation. We're based in Preston, but we do cover Preston, Chorley, South Ribble and West Lancashire.
And you've been around about 20 years now, almost.
We have. We were originally Preston Advocacy when we started 20 years ago.
You had a different name?
Yes, we were Preston Advocacy then, but because we've expanded our area, then we changed the name.
And you're the services manager there. How did you get involved?
Well, I actually came along myself as a volunteer advocate 16, 17 years ago. And over the years, I've sort of changed my role till I now manage the service.
You've got this new project called Cancer, Older People and Advocacy. Can you first explain what advocacy is? Because not everyone understands exactly what that is.
Well, basically, advocacy is about speaking up for people, helping support people to tell people what they want, to provide them with information so they can make informed decisions, to help them with their understanding of things, and to get to make sure that they know what their rights are and what they're entitled to.
All right, tell me about this project.
Well, it's called the Cancer, Older People and Advocacy Project. The definition of older people you may be interested in is 50 and over.
That's me.
And me. So yeah, anybody 50 and over. The original funding for this project comes through the big lottery, Silver Dreams Fund, hence why it's for older people. And it's also in conjunction with Macmillan Cancer Care. And the idea is to support older people who have cancer or their carers, friends, relatives who are helping them, who are over 50 themselves, to make sure that they explore the best treatment options, to give them information so they can make the best decisions. But also we can provide support with other things that may help support them along that journey with cancer. So it could be anything from information around benefits, social care packages, things to do with finances, maybe even things like powers of attorney, and decision making for end of life if that was necessary.
Okay, you say you're looking for volunteers. We've got volunteer advocates. We've got someone who is working for you full time as an advocate, and that's Aneesah Dana. Hello, Aneesah.
Hiya.
What's your role then exactly at iCann?
Well, I'm an advocate at iCann, and as Janet mentioned, we do actually cover quite a sort of varied range of sort of different types of advocacy, and that could be helping clients with treatment options, making sure that they understand what their consultants are telling them. Unfortunately, sometimes we come across clients that might even have to consider end-of-life plans, so it could be writing out a will, helping them go to solicitors' appointments, for example. So it's quite varied.
Okay, and you're looking for volunteers?
That's correct. We are looking for volunteers. We currently do have a small pool of volunteers, but we'd obviously like some more. And as Janet mentioned, it would be people that would have possibly been affected by cancer themselves, either through family or a friend, or, as Janet mentioned, a carer. And it's really to sort of build that relationship with the client as well.
Can you give me some examples of the types of a client that you've worked with and what the results have been?
A good example would be more recently, I've been working with a client who unfortunately does have terminal cancer. So in terms of the actual health outcome, obviously there isn't, unfortunately we can't change that. However, we can help clients sort of go through that journey and still make choices. And that could be things like looking at their diet to make sure that they're getting the best possible sort of advice regards to diet. sort of pain control, looking at maybe solutions around the home, helping them with aids, with assessments, that kind of thing. There could be finances as well that a lot of people struggle with. So that it's quite varied.
And how busy are you?
At the moment, we're definitely getting quite a few referrals. Again, as Janet mentioned, we are associated with Macmillan as well. I've currently got 4 clients, but in total we've actually got about 11 or 12 now. Obviously, not all of those people will be seeing me. They'd be seeing our volunteers as well.
All right, talking about your volunteers, what kind of training do you give to your volunteers, Janet?
We've got some training coming up at the end of September, the beginning of October, but normally what we do is trainings held over 3 half days, and the basic training is around general advocacy skills. We also look at communication skills that are needed as an advocate, and obviously the policies and procedures, and some of the regulations around advocacy. Then we do, after that, a specialist half-day session specifically around the cancer advocacy service, because we do have other advocacy services, but this is obviously for the cancer one. So we do an add-on half-days training for that. And then in conjunction with Macmillan, there's also e-learning support packages. So that's something else that we've been doing.
So it's basically around communication skills, and obviously you've got to be able to understand medical conditions, haven't you?
I think it's more important that you're a good listener and you can empathise with the person. I don't think you actually need skills and knowledge, because a lot of it you will be researching things along with your client and providing them with that information. So the background knowledge isn't as essential as the people skills, really.
When you go to an appointment, when you're accompanying a client who you're representing, is that the right word, representing?
Yes, I think so.
Who does the talking?
We try and empower and encourage the client to speak up as much themselves as possible. Quite often we'll do a pre-meet with a client and go through questions that they might want to ask. Then when we actually go to the meeting themselves, we'll encourage them to ask those questions and get the information, but we're there to prompt them, to remind them. And sometimes people get too emotionally involved and upset, and you can then step in and sort of gently remind them of the things that they wanted to ask. Also, it's very helpful sometimes for people to have someone there to listen, because quite often you're bombarded with information, and if you've just been told that things aren't as good as you thought, or you might just have been given an initial diagnosis of cancer, I think your brain switches off at that point, and you're not taking in a lot of the information that you're being given, and having somebody with you to remember those things can be really helpful.
I think that's true of anyone going to any medical appointment, but especially so if you're being diagnosed with a disease like cancer.
Yes, definitely.
How do people get referred to your service? Can they refer themselves, or does it have to be via a doctor?
Anyone can refer themselves or a friend, family member, providing you've got that person's permission. And as I said, the service is for carers as well. So, as I said, it's for people who are over 50. To refer into the service, you can get in touch with us through our website, which I can give you details of, or via email. On the website, there is a direct email link, or people can simply ring us.
Okay, that website is www.iCann, which is CANN.org.uk. And your phone number?
01772 900 253.
And can I ask you for the email as well?
Yep, the best way to email us is admin@iCann.org.uk. But as I said, if you go on the website, there is a direct link that you can email through that as well.
All right, that's referrals rather, for people who want to use your service. If we can go back to volunteers for a moment, Just remind me of the kind of people that you're looking for, would you?
Ideally, people who are over 50 themselves, who have had some experience of cancer. Now, that may be personally, it may be as a health professional, social worker, that sort of thing. It may be that you've supported a friend or a family member with their journey with cancer. And obviously, as I said, personal qualities of good listening skills and the ability to empathise with people are more important than background knowledge.
And if I can ask about the benefits, Aneesah, what are the benefits to people who volunteer with you? What do they get from it?
Well, obviously, being able to support someone through such a personal sort of journey, it can be extremely rewarding. People build amazing relationships with their clients as well. And it's a learning curve for not just the person that's sort of going through the cancer, but for the volunteers themselves. I mean, obviously there are a lot of practical skills that are involved, but it's also learning about how to talk to people, how to sort of emotionally connect with people. And there's a lot of reflection as well, sometimes for people in their own lives as well.
Okay. And you're working with an organisation called OPAL. OPAAL. What's the link there?
OPAL are the Older People's Advocacy Alliance, and they designed this project and actually got the funding originally from the big lottery to set up a pilot, which was in other areas of the country. The nearest one to us was in Sefton and Southport. The pilots were so successful that OPAL applied for extra money from the big lottery to extend the pilot, and it's now being rolled out in other areas of the country. At the moment there are 9 delivery partners, and by January another couple of organisations are going to join on in London and Brighton. Okay,
excellent. And going back to the advocate training, you gave me some dates. Can you give me those dates again?
They're on our website, but I haven't got them to hand at the moment.
It's
but
the
it's
end
towards
of this month, isn't it?
It's towards the end of September, leading into the beginning of October. So that probably will be too short notice for most people. But we will be running the training again if there's enough demand, possibly in November.
Okay, you did say it takes place over 3 mornings.
Yes.
I've just found the dates here. It's Monday the 29th. Starting on the 24th of September, then Monday the 29th and Tuesday the 30th. So that's a Wednesday, a Monday and a Tuesday. And the venue is Morrison's. Yes.
Morrison's very kindly have offered us use of their training rooms down at Riversway. They have a lovely big training room. Obviously there's free parking. It's quite accessible for most people, and it's part of Morrison's Community Champions scheme.
All right. And are you involved in the training, Aneesah?
I will be involved in the training. Obviously a lot of our new volunteers will be quite interested in knowing what advocacy is and the kind of experiences that I have. Obviously, no doubt there'll be some people that might be a little bit apprehensive because sometimes some of our clients, are terminally ill, and, it can be quite difficult even for a volunteer as well to support someone in that situation. So quite often people enjoy listening to my experiences as an advocate, to sort of see what to expect, really.
And what kind of things will you be telling them on the training?
Well, it's a very rewarding job. It most certainly is. And like I said, it's not always easy when you're with a client who is terminally ill. But it's rewarding in the sense that you're still enabling them and helping them make the best choices possible. And I think, like Janet mentioned, it's empowering people still, making sure that even up until the final end, really, they're making informed decisions and ones that they are happy with.
I presume that most of your volunteers are mature people, who may be over 50 themselves, or do you have some younger people?
We do actually have some younger people. Sometimes I think maybe, from my experience indeed anyway, I've come across clients that actually prefer having advocates that are slightly younger. because maybe they connect better. I think sometimes we sort of assume that there's a bit of ageism going on almost, that an older person would want an older advocate, and that's actually not always the case.
All right, so just a reminder then that this is an advocacy service which is provided to people over the age of 50. That's the definition these days of an older person, being over 50. As Janet and I have remarked, we're both older people, apparently. It's for people who need support in making treatment and care decisions, social care, financial, employment and career issues. You can talk through those issues.
Yeah.
And obviously you decide yourself what you want to do, but it's all about sharing. And also you can provide information presumably as well if that's needed.
Yes, we're not an advice giving agency, and we will signpost where appropriate to other advice giving agencies, and we may even be able to accompany people to those appointments if they felt we needed to. But for us it's about giving people the information and supporting them to make the best decision for them.
Janet Cullingford and Aneesah Dana, thanks very much for coming to Chat City.
Thank you very much.
Sunday nights from 9. Join Steve Franklin live for Preston FM's weekly request show.
Could I have some Pink Floyd for my mum?
Gino by Dixie's Midnight Runners.
Can I request 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton, please?
What a way to make a living.
Lavender by Marillion.
Sunday nights from 9. 103.2 Preston FM. The weekend stops here.